A storm is coming. Not the kind that shakes trees or floods streets, but one that shakes people. It's coming on Friday, 3 October, and most won't even see it until it's already here. You can feel it in the air, tension, confusion, uncertainty. The world is shifting faster than ever, and deep down you know something big is approaching. But while most are scrolling, laughing, pretending everything is fine, a few are quietly preparing, because storms don't announce themselves twice. This isn't fear, it's awareness. History has shown that before every great change, there's always a storm, a moment that tests who you really are, what you stand for, and how grounded your soul is when the wind starts to roar. In this video, you'll discover what this storm truly means, not just globally, but personally. You'll learn why most people will be caught off guard and how you can stand strong when everything around you begins to shake. By the end, you'll see that storms don't come to destroy. They come to reveal, to separate the grounded from the lost, the prepared from the unready. So stay till the end, because when the sky darkens and silence fills the air, the question won't be whether the storm came, but whether you were ready for it. Why does this date matter? Why Friday, 3 October? Out of all the days in the year, why does this one stand out like a signal in the noise? Because time has patterns. Moments repeat. History has rhythms that echo through generations. And if you're observant enough, you start to feel when the air changes. 3 October is one of those moments. It's not random. It's not vague. It's a fixed point where energy shifts, where something beneath the surface starts to move. We've seen this before. Important events rarely happen by accident. They align with cycles, social, emotional, even spiritual. You might call it coincidence, but deep down you sense something heavier in your chest when a real turning point approaches. And that's what this date represents, a silent alarm, a marker on the timeline of change. While most people will wake up that Friday and go about their usual routine, unaware of the quiet turbulence rising around them, those who are awake will feel it. It's not about superstition, it's about awareness. When too many things start converging, unrest, uncertainty, shifting power, emotional burnout, it's no longer chance. It's a signal. The signs are already here, though many refuse to see them. Look at how people are behaving lately: impatient, restless, defensive. The energy of the world feels different. You can sense that we're approaching something that will demand more clarity, more strength, and more calm than ever before. The distractions are growing louder, the pressure heavier. Every small event, every piece of news, every personal challenge seems to push us toward a breaking point. That's not coincidence. That's buildup. And 3 October is the moment it peaks. But what storm are we really talking about? It's not just about clouds or rain. The real storm doesn't happen in the sky. It happens in the soul. It happens when the life you've built starts to tremble under pressure. When the truths you've ignored begin to demand your attention. When you're forced to face what you've avoided for too long. That's the kind of storm that's coming. It may show itself in different forms for different people. For some, it will be emotional, a sudden wave of loss, heartbreak, or confrontation. For others, it will be societal, a shift in the system, a breakdown of what once felt stable. For many, it will be internal, a spiritual awakening that feels like chaos before it becomes clarity. It's a storm that doesn't just challenge your surroundings, it challenges your very core. Think about the great storms of the past, the ones that weren't weather but transformation, the economic collapse that reshaped generations, the sudden changes in belief, technology, and truth that flipped the world upside down. These weren't accidents. They were the winds of change that arrived exactly when humanity became too comfortable. Storms in every form arrive when stagnation becomes dangerous. When people stop paying attention, right now the warning signs are everywhere. Relationships are breaking down faster than they're being built. Mental health struggles are rising like tides. The media is full of noise but short on truth. People are connected online, yet more disconnected than ever in real life. Every one of these signals is a raindrop before the storm. So when we say a storm is coming on 3 October, it's not prediction, it's recognition. Something is brewing, not in the sky, but in the atmosphere of the human spirit. A storm that will test faith, patience, and truth. The real question isn't whether you believe it's coming, but whether you're awake enough to sense it. This date isn't chosen for drama. It's chosen because the energy around it demands attention. It's a checkpoint, a moment for reflection, for adjustment, for preparation, a reminder that nothing stays still forever. Seasons shift, systems reset, and lives transform. The question is, will you move with it or be swept away by it? You see, storms don't just destroy, they cleanse. They reveal the cracks in your foundation. They expose the truth about what's real and what's fragile. That's what this storm represents. It's the moment life asks you, are you standing on rock or on sand? And that's why this date matters, because the answer will soon be revealed. Look around and you'll see the signs everywhere. The world feels heavier now, as if something invisible is pressing down on everyone's shoulders. Conversations have turned sharper, patience thinner, compassion rarer. People no longer listen to understand. They listen to respond, to argue, to win. Division has become the new normal. We are divided by belief, by status, by ideology, by fear. And fear is the most contagious storm of all. It spreads quietly, shaping decisions, isolating hearts, and blinding entire nations. Social unrest is no longer confined to protests or politics. It's in the homes, in the workplaces, even in the silence between people. Anger brews where understanding used to live. Everyone feels like something is off, but few can put it into words. The balance is breaking. Humanity is restless. You can see it in the rise of hate, in the loss of empathy, in the way people glorify chaos instead of peace. That is a sign, a warning written in plain sight. Then there's the economy, fragile and uncertain, like a glass bridge over deep water. Numbers rise and fall, but the reality beneath them is far more unstable. The systems built to protect us now feel like traps. Debts are growing, trust is shrinking, and people are working harder than ever just to stand still. It's a dangerous calm, the kind that comes before collapse. History whispers that when greed outpaces gratitude, correction always follows, yet few are listening. Beneath it all lies something even deeper, spiritual emptiness, a hollowness that no possession, no achievement, no distraction can fill. People are losing touch with meaning. They've traded purpose for performance, faith for followers, truth for trends. The world is louder than it has ever been. But inside, most hearts are quiet, not in peace, but in absence. That silence is the loudest warning of all. Moral collapse rarely happens overnight. It begins with small compromises, a lie here, a betrayal there, a little selfishness disguised as ambition. But over time, those small cracks widen until integrity itself falls apart. What once was right becomes flexible. What once was sacred becomes negotiable. And when people stop seeing wrong as wrong, they stop seeing danger at all. These are not random events. These are tremors before the quake. Yet, so few will be ready. Not because they weren't warned, but because they chose not to see. Complacency is the first enemy. People believe it won't touch me. They think they're safe because the storm hasn't reached their door yet. But storms don't ask for permission. They arrive without warning, and by the time you realize it, it's already too late to prepare. Distraction is the second. The world has become addicted to noise, endless scrolling, constant entertainment, fake urgency. It's easier to stay numb than to face what's coming. The more comfortable people get in their distractions, the less they notice the world burning quietly around them. They confuse activity with awareness and comfort with safety. But comfort has never saved anyone from a storm. Then there's spiritual lethargy, the weakening of the soul. Many have built their lives on temporary foundations. They know the words of faith, but not the weight of them. They've lost connection to what sustains them when everything else fails. A storm tests faith, and fragile faith always collapses first. That's why preparation isn't about storing things. It's about strengthening spirit. And finally, misplaced confidence. People trust systems, money, or other humans more than they trust the truth inside them. They think technology will save them, or power, or influence. But storms don't respect status, they reveal it. When the winds rise, all masks fall. And the ones who depended on external strength realize too late that they were never standing on solid ground. Every warning is already here in the fear on people's faces, in the uncertainty of tomorrow, in the emptiness that even success can't hide. But few will be ready because they no longer believe storms are real until they're inside one. The signs are flashing, the ground is trembling, and still many sleepwalk through it all. Not because they can't see, but because they've chosen not to look. So what does being ready really mean? It's more than having a plan or expecting the unexpected. Being ready isn't about fear, it's about strength. The kind of strength that doesn't shake when the world does. When the storm comes, people won't rise to the occasion. They'll fall to the level of their preparation, and that preparation begins inside, not outside. Readiness starts with inner strength, the kind that can't be bought or borrowed. It's built through character, integrity, and self-control. It's in the quiet decisions you make when no one is watching. It's choosing honesty over comfort, patience over reaction, and purpose over distraction. Inner strength isn't loud. It doesn't need to prove itself. It simply stands firm when everything else is moving. When the storm tests you, it's not your resources that will protect you. It's your resilience. Then comes spiritual grounding, the anchor that keeps your soul steady when everything else is uncertain. You need something bigger than yourself to hold on to, something eternal when the temporary crumbles. Faith, however you define it, becomes your compass. Without it, you drift. The world teaches self-dependence, but storms remind you that self alone isn't enough. You need connection to truth, to purpose, to the higher power that guides you when logic fails. That's what makes you unshakable. Practical preparedness is just as important. It's the ability to stay mentally clear when emotions rise. When chaos hits, most people panic, not because they're weak, but because they never practice calm. Being prepared means training your mind to focus, your emotions to stabilize, your heart to discern. It's about knowing what matters most and refusing to lose sight of it, no matter how loud the noise gets. You don't fight chaos with panic. You fight it with presence. And don't forget community and support. No one survives a storm alone. We are not designed for isolation. You need people who lift you, who challenge you, who remind you of who you are when you start to forget. A strong community doesn't make you dependent, it makes you grounded. Together, people endure what individuals cannot. When the world breaks into fragments, connection becomes your shelter. So what can you do now? The first step is to look inward. Be brutally honest with yourself. Are you living with purpose or just surviving out of habit? Are your values strong or easily shaken by pressure? Take time to evaluate your heart, your mind, your motives. The storm reveals what's already weak, so strengthen it before the wind arrives. Step 2, fast, pray, reflect, or meditate. Whatever centers your soul, do it with intention. Silence is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. The world screams for attention, but peace only comes to those who can quiet their own noise. This is how you realign with truth and remind yourself what truly matters. Step 3, repair relationships and release bitterness. You can't carry anger into a storm. It will weigh you down and pull you under. Forgive not because others deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Reconciliation doesn't always mean reunion. Sometimes it simply means freedom from resentment. Let go of what poisons your heart before the winds expose it. Step 4, secure your spiritual foundation. Build your faith daily, not occasionally. Storms don't give you time to prepare. They only reveal whether you already did. Feed your soul the same way you feed your body. Consistently, deliberately, with care. Read, pray, learn, seek truth. The stronger your connection to your source, the steadier you stand when everything else shakes. Step 5, speak truth and guard your mind and heart. Words are seeds. They build or they break. Stop feeding your soul with fear, lies, or negativity. Be mindful of what you consume, what you say, and who you listen to. Protect your inner space as if your peace depends on it, because it does. Being ready is not about surviving a single day. It's about living in a state of awareness, strength, and alignment. Preparation is not a, and when you are not ready, the storm doesn't simply test you, it consumes you. The first wave is always shock. People freeze when reality doesn't match their illusion of control. They stand there staring at the destruction, asking how it happened so suddenly, not realizing the signs were there all along. Shock turns into confusion, confusion into fear, and fear into regret. It's a painful realization to know that you had time, but you didn't use it. When you're not prepared, you lose ground, emotionally, spiritually, even physically. You make desperate choices that create deeper wounds. Fear clouds judgment. Panic replaces clarity. Regret begins to eat away at peace. You look around and see broken relationships. People turning on each other instead of turning inward for strength. Families divided, friends lost, communities scattered. These are the real casualties of unprepared hearts. Opportunities vanish too. The ones who were distracted missed the moment to act. The doors that were once open slowly close because storms don't wait for anyone. They reveal who was building and who was sleeping. And when you're overwhelmed, it's not just the world that feels chaotic, it's your own mind. You lose your anchor. You start believing every fear, every lie, every hopeless thought. The pain of being unready isn't just the loss of things, it's the loss of self. When chaos hits, you realize too late that strength must be built before it's needed. That's why history's warnings exist, not to scare, but to awaken. The lesson has never changed. Those who prepare with wisdom survive with peace, while those who ignore the signs are swept away by the very storm they thought would never reach them. When you are ready, everything changes. The same storm that breaks others becomes the wind that strengthens you. Where others see confusion, you see clarity. Where they panic, you stay calm. Preparation transforms fear into focus. It gives you peace amid chaos, not because the world is quiet, but because your mind is. You stop reacting to every noise, every headline, every rumor. Instead, you observe, breathe, and respond from a place of strength. And readiness isn't about escaping the storm, it's about walking through it untouched. Peace doesn't mean the absence of trouble. It means the presence of understanding. When you are spiritually and mentally grounded, You realize that storms are temporary, but truth is not. The chaos around you no longer dictates your emotions. You can sit in the middle of the noise and still hear your inner voice clearly. That's the gift of being prepared. Your center remains unshaken. Others may crumble, but you remain anchored. And in that stillness comes clarity. While many lose sight of direction, you begin to see patterns. You sense timing, purpose, and movement that others miss. Clarity is not something you search for in the middle of panic. It's something that grows from the calm you built beforehand. When you're ready, your perspective changes. You don't see the storm as punishment. You see it as preparation. You begin to understand why it had to come, what it's meant to cleanse, and what it's guiding you toward. Resilience becomes your silent strength. You don't break easily. You bend, you adapt, but you don't fall apart. When challenges rise, you respond with wisdom, not fear. Readiness doesn't mean perfection. It means persistence. You may stumble, but you recover faster. You may get hit, but you don't stay down. Resilience is the difference between those who survive the storm and those who grow through it. It's built through small acts of courage long before the real test arrives. Purpose follows closely behind. When others are lost in confusion, you find meaning in motion. The prepared always find direction because storms reveal where the unprepared once stood still. You realize that your stability isn't just for you, it's for others. When everyone else is searching for answers, you become a light, a guide, a voice of calm. That's what real readiness gives you. Not just survival, but significance. The ability to stand tall and say, I am here and I can help. In times of collapse, people don't follow titles or power. They follow peace. And when you are ready, you become that peace for others. As the day approaches, the signs become impossible to ignore. Events start accelerating, faster, louder, more unpredictable. What once took years now happens in weeks. Systems shift overnight. Decisions that used to be certain suddenly change direction. You feel it in the air, the sense that time itself is tightening. This acceleration is not chaos. It's a countdown. It's the signal that something greater is aligning. You may begin to notice unusual warnings, not just in the news, but in your own life. Strange coincidences, recurring dreams, a quiet voice inside telling you to pay attention. These inner nudges are not random. They're reminders that you are being guided, that your awareness is awakening. The spiritually awake sense storms long before the clouds form. They feel the vibration change. They know when it's time to pause, prepare, or move. Pressure will intensify. Emotionally, financially, spiritually, everything will feel heavier. But that's how transformation begins. Pressure doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to shape you. It forces you to let go of what can't survive the next level. The prepared don't run from pressure. They understand it's the final test before breakthrough. Before the great storm arrives, there will be smaller ones, minor disruptions that serve as warnings. Things breaking unexpectedly, plans shifting, emotions stirring. These smaller storms aren't punishments, they're rehearsals. They teach you how to respond, how to trust, how to endure. Each one prepares you for something bigger. When you are ready, these signs don't scare you. They inform you. You begin to move with wisdom instead of worry. You see the world not as falling apart, but as being rearranged for something new. Readiness transforms you from a victim of change into a participant in destiny. And when that moment finally comes, when the skies darken and the winds rise, you won't tremble. You'll stand with peace, clarity, and strength, knowing that every step of preparation brought you to this moment for a reason. There's a reason this message is reaching you now. Not next week, not next month. Now, because time is no longer something to waste. Every warning, every whisper inside you has been pointing to this moment. You can feel it, can't you? The atmosphere is shifting. Something is approaching, and deep down your spirit knows. This isn't a time to wait for confirmation or signs from others. The signs are already here. No more postponing the inner work. No more pretending life will go back to normal. Normal was the illusion. The truth is, storms don't wait for us to be ready. They come to test whether we've done the work in silence, whether our roots are deep enough to withstand the shaking. It's not too late to begin. Even if you've ignored every warning until now, there's still mercy in the moment you choose awareness. You don't need perfection. You need sincerity. You don't need to have all the answers, just the willingness to start preparing within. The greatest decision you can make isn't about fear. It's about alignment. Or you align with what truly matters, with what sustains you when everything else falls away. That alignment begins now in quiet reflection, in a small prayer, in the courage to face what you've avoided. The moment of preparation is not about panic. It's about peace. True preparation doesn't happen in noise. It happens in stillness, when you decide to return to what's real, when you choose to strengthen your faith, your focus, your foundation, when you let go of what's temporary and hold tight to what's eternal. This is the inner training that turns storms into transformation. You were never meant to fear the storm. You were meant to stand through it, to be the calm within it. So pause and ask yourself, what are you anchored to? Is it strong enough to hold when the ground beneath begins to shake? The time for hesitation is over. The choice is being presented to every soul right now, to wake up or to be swept away by distraction, comfort, or disbelief. It's not a threat. It's a truth. Every great turning point in history came with a call like this. Those who listened became the light for others. Those who ignored it found themselves lost in the dark. You still have the power to choose. The storm doesn't have to destroy you. It can refine you. But that depends on what you do now. You can't wait for the winds to rise to build your shelter. You must build it in the stillness today. Start with one act of courage, one moment of honesty, one prayer of surrender. That's all it takes to shift your direction. The urgency is real. The signs are multiplying. But this isn't a message of fear. It's one of awakening. You are not being warned to hide. You're being called to rise, to strengthen your soul, to reconnect with truth, to stand as one who is unshaken. So I ask you, when the storm arrives, will you stand firm, or will you be swept away? Will you be among the few who were ready, or among the many who were surprised? The choice will define not just your days, but your destiny. Because the storm isn't just about what's coming, it's about who you're becoming. The moment is here. The decision is yours. And the time to act is now. A storm is coming on 3 October. It's not just a date, it's a warning, a wake-up call, a moment that will separate the prepared from the unready. The signs are already here for those who have eyes to see. This is your time to rise, to strengthen your soul, and to fortify your heart before the winds begin to blow. Don't wait until chaos arrives to start building your foundation. Do it now in silence, in sincerity and strength. Reflect on where you stand. Decide what you believe in. Commit to the path that leads to peace, not panic, to faith, not fear. Because when the storm hits, those who have prepared will not be shaken. They will stand tall while others fall. Remember this, every great storm carries both destruction and renewal. What it takes away from the weak, it gives to the strong. Be among those who are ready, not just to survive, but to rise above. If this message spoke to you, like this video, share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to our channel for more powerful insights and inspiration. Your preparation begins now.